Hello, and welcome to today's presentation focused on artificial intelligence, specifically how artificial intelligence can be harnessed to build efficiencies within businesses throughout the world. The objective of today's presentation is to explore how the power of artificial intelligence can redefine the way in which businesses provide products, services, and value to the consumer. But what is artificial intelligence? And how did we get here? Throughout the existence of mankind, humans have always strived to find ways to work faster, smarter, and more efficient. We created cars and airplanes to travel faster, invented electricity to power our homes and light up our world, computers and telecommunications to connect us all together, and now, scientists and engineers are developing perhaps the greatest invention of all, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, or AI for short, has the potential to redefine the very world in which we know of today. For businesses, AI is a complete game changer. Imagine running a business where mass amounts of data are collected and processed through complex algorithms, giving you a personalized profile of each and every one of your customers. Envision knowing a person's likes and dislikes, which products they routinely purchase and use, and which marketing channels effectively reaches them to maximize your efforts. AI has the potential of causing an economic boom like no other. In fact, economists are already projecting that the impact of AI will have on our economy. A recent PwC report estimates that AI will contribute $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030, and expected to boost North America's GDP alone by 14% by that year. AI is not only revolutionizing the way in which companies conduct businesses with consumers, but many other industries as well. With the help of AI, hospitals can diagnose diseases faster and more accurately. Logistics and supply chains can be optimized to decrease waste and reduce overhead. Governments can better tackle the issue of climate change by computing large amounts of environmental data. Simply put, artificial intelligence is the game changer of the 21st century. Artificial intelligence is a sector of computer science which strives to stimulate human intelligence onto highly technical and specialized machines. This is achieved by mimicking cognitive functions such as learning, reasoning, problem solving, visual perception, and language understanding. Basically, a replacement and improvement of the human mind. But how did we get here? Modern artificial intelligence is traced back to the classical philosophers of Greece. The concept of the time was attributing human thinking into systems of symbols. Connectionism was developed in the 1940s to quantifiably study the process of thinking in itself. In the 1950s, machines were created to solve problems such as mathematical equations or simply winning a game of checkers. Through the next decade, more complex algorithms were created to solve more complex mathematical problems. Geometrical theorems in the early machine learning of robots was developed. In fact, the U.S. Department of Defense understood the importance of AI and took great interest and funded several different programs, one of which was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or otherwise known as DARPA, which focused on street mapping projects starting in the 1970s. However, during this era, it was recognized that to be successful, these applications would need to be capable of processing enormous amounts of data, which was not feasible at the time. As computers became more advanced, well, so did the opportunity that artificial intelligence presented. In 1997, IBM's machine, nicknamed Deep Blue, became the first computer to beat a reigning world champion, Garry Kasparov, in a game of chess. As computer processing power and storage ability has grown exponentially, so has the businesses of the world today's ability to store and analyze large amounts of data. For example, user data can be processed by retailers to understand consumer behavior and make suggestions for future purchases and estimated stock needs. Fast forward to present-day AI, or applied AI. The current implementation of artificial intelligence is called applied AI, which uses a series of inputs and algorithms to complete a single known task. As an example, self-driving vehicle or auto trading, stocks and bonds in the market based on buying and selling parameters would be examples of applied AI. Generalized AI is still in the early stages of development as it continues and includes systems or devices that theoretically can handle any task, as it carries enough intelligence through inputs of learning to find solutions unfamiliar and more complex problems. Now, there are three essential pieces to AI. Artificial intelligence can be broken down into these three essential pieces. First is the general purposes of machine learning. This is what is most familiar to society when artificial concepts are discussed. This is the ability for a machine to learn patterns in speech, images, and video data. It is closely related to statistics, and it is evaluated and to determine how well a model trained on a set of data can predict a new data set. The system needs an active system of stream of data or continue to bolster its learning algorithm. This piece of AI is known as data generation. Typically, there are fixed data assets for generic tasks and effectively generated data sets compiled by the system through the use of experimentation and performance improvements. Lastly, the system needs a set of concrete yet complex tasks to be solved. For example, if your intent is to build a system that can communicate with other customers, you would need to first determine potential customer interactions and probably dialogue generating routines for each, basically providing the constraints of artificial intelligence to operate within. But how does this relate to business? Well, there are many challenges businesses are facing in an increasingly competitive world. Now, in order to understand the vital importance of AI in business, we must first understand the challenges that businesses are facing in the world of today. While there are an infinite amount of problems businesses can face on a daily basis, we're going to focus on four of the largest in which artificial intelligence has the best ability to solve. The first, data mining and analytics. Let's face it, in some way or another, we are all contributing to vast amounts of data that is produced in the world, whether through internet search history, social media platforms, cell phone location tracking, or simply the music that we listen to. We are being harnessed of our data. In fact, according to a recent Domos report, over 2.5 quadrillion bytes of data are created every single day. And it's only going to grow from there. By 2020, it's estimated that 1.7 megabytes of data will be created every second for every person on Earth. Now, this poses a tremendous challenges for businesses. How can we fully digest and understand this data with the resources that we have today? AI might hold that answer. With the decrease in cost for electronic processing power, it is more possible than ever for machines to ingest, analyze, and produce key analytics helpful for businesses to better understand the market and consumer behavior. As previously mentioned, businesses may now have the ability to create a profile on every single possible consumer in the marketplace, knowing a person's likes and dislikes, which products they routinely purchase and use, and which marketing channels effectively reaches them to maximize their marketing efforts. Number two, increasing product demand and supply. By the very nature of our growing world population, the need for critical goods and services have never been greater. For instance, we can look at our own food supply as an example. We have become reliant on sustaining our lives by producing crops that are grown hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. Businesses, as a result, are forced to find ways to increase the speed in which those goods are delivered while maintaining an adequate supply for long-term sustainability, all while reducing waste. How can this be achieved? Again, AI holds the answer. In the examples of farmers, AI is helping farmers learn more about best farming methods to better crop selection and ultimately growing higher quality and higher volume crops. Logistic companies are better able to predict departure and arrival times, and supply chains become more streamlined. Number 3, enlarging customer expectations. There is no doubt that consumers are expecting faster services than they would have ever expected in the past. Take Amazon, for instance. We can now order a new jacket from a warehouse hundreds, thousands of miles away and have it arrive at our doorstep the very next day, basically redefining our standards for acquiring goods and services. As a result, businesses are forced to meet these expectations or fear losing the consumer to a competitor that can. How is it that Amazon can make this happen? Well, you may have guessed it, by investing heavily in artificial intelligence. According to a recent Amazon study, Amazon spent $23 billion on research and development last year alone, more than any other U.S. company in history. And number 4, maintaining a competitive edge. We are living in a world that has never been more connected. The technological resources that new businesses would need in order to make their footprint in a marketplace has never been cheaper and more readily available. That is why it is important for businesses to continuously innovate and understand the consumer's needs more than ever, or risk losing market share to an up-and-coming company that will. Again, look at Amazon. With their commitment to technology, they are providing a service that can't be matched by traditional brick-and-mortar stores. As a result, many businesses that we grew to love, such as Toys R Us, Sears, Kmart, and many others, are closing stores and filing for bankruptcy. Bottom line, tech giants are spending a tremendous amount of money to prevent the same demise for themselves. According to a Recode report, R&D spending is important not only as it contributes to a company's own innovation and industry dominance, but also for its contribution to national productivity, accounting for about 3% of the GDP. That's a lot of money. These are just a few cases, a few examples of problems that can be solved from a business standpoint with the promise of artificial intelligence. So now, let's look at some of the top use cases for AI. Artificial intelligence has been implemented in a variety of business sectors to improve operations. In healthcare, applications can provide medicinal and X-ray readings, act as life coaches, provide pill reminders, or make suggestions for living a healthier life. In retail, virtual shoppers can offer personalized recommendations, discuss purchasing options, provide stock management, site layout, details, and more. Manufacturers can analyze loads of data, forecast inventory and demand, and implement various AI learning technologies based on existing sequence data. Financial institutions have also benefited from these technologies by being able to quickly identify potentially fraudulent transactions, fast and more accurate credit scoring, and automate manual intensive data management tasks. All of these industries are investing aggressively in projects that utilize cognitive artificial intelligence software, such as what we've described. But with artificial intelligence, with risk comes reward. In recent decades, the persona of artificial intelligence has not always been one of acceptance and submission, but rather has been introduced to our culture as a potential threat to our everyday lives. Let's face it, most of us have seen, or at least know, of the Hollywood blockbuster film The Terminator. In the film, Skynet, an artificial intelligence system, sparks a nuclear holocaust when the world is overtaken by AI robots with the intent of eradicating the human race from the Earth. But can this actually happen? Probably not. But what the film did do was doubt uncertainty and speculation of the impact of AI in our society. As a result, it's not out of the question to ask ourselves, what are the risks for AI? So let's understand some of these risks. The intent of AI was to create a machine that will successfully perform any intellectual task such as a human being can. The process includes programming these machines with specific characteristics such as knowledge, reasoning, problem solving, perception, learning, planning, and language. However, there are also many different risks and cost factors that industries need to take into consideration when dealing with artificial intelligence. For instance, our first risk of employment. Artificial intelligence continues to develop. more autonomous systems are being created and replacing human labor, making potential takeover of superintelligence an actual major risk. By giving machines self-learning, reasoning, and self-evolving capabilities, there is a possibility that they can become superior to human performance. Therefore, if machines become quicker, more reliable, cheaper than human workers in many areas of work, the amount of people in the workforce could decrease, having a negative effect on the labor market. For example, researchers, pharmacy technicians, reporters, bartenders, soldiers, and surgeons are all targets of artificial development. Malfunctions. In order to perform these specific jobs, a custom AI software will need to be created using a set of complex algorithms. With these algorithms, there is a possibility of malfunction, or the machine can function improperly but make the wrong context. In the healthcare industry, this can be very dangerous. Imagine an algorithm malfunction while a machine is performing a surgical procedure, or a machine failing to diagnose a patient with the correct disease. It is possible that these machines could assure accuracy of 100%, but these malfunctions can cost companies large sums of money if they happen, and any potential damage that artificial can cause can be a risk of malfunction. Risk of privacy loss. There is always a risk of privacy leaks and other malicious attacks. Organizations are often easily victimized by a variety of phishing attacks and scams with artificial intelligence. Improving more sensitive information will be connected to the internet. Maintaining privacy and reducing ransomware will be difficult and ongoing challenges for many businesses. As a result, forcing businesses to invest heavily in security measures, such as sophisticated firewalls, 24/7 monitoring, and hiring a task force to deal with breaches of data. Major tech companies also exert a great deal of influence. They have too much power. The issue above ties in with power of major tech companies, namely Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon. These companies have the financial capacity, the data, and the intellectual ability to raise the quality of artificial intelligence enormously. The risk, therefore, exists that very powerful technology ends up in the hands of a relatively small group of commercial companies. Loss of skills. The workforce that we depend on for our economy is becoming more reliant on technology and less reliant on understanding skill sets. Basically, we are losing skills in daily life and leaving them up to technology. But what does this mean for a skilled workforce? Are businesses willing to put their future in the hands of technology? Well, it sure seems that we're trending this way. Which brings us to industry trends. Artificial intelligence is and will be taking more and more jobs in today's world. It is estimated that during this decade, artificial intelligence will make it likely that jobs employing about half of the U.S. workers could be taken by robots or artificial intelligence. Our future trend of artificial intelligence is cognitive analytics. Machines will essentially be able to perform maintenance on themselves, come to their own conclusions, and learn from their own mistakes, which will help them be more efficient in the future. This allows them to enhance artificial intelligence and build more machines that process through large amounts of data. These machines will be able to understand what is important for their primary function and eliminate certain data processes that aren't needed in order to make their work more efficient. They can also share information amongst other machines to help with their processing, creating a global network of artificial intelligence. These machines will have an impact on human lives and will begin to have a bigger effect with each passing day. They will begin to help make human lives easier by learning patterns of human behavior to help appease to the everyday life of humans, and we will start to use it more in cars, our houses, and everything else humans use every day. Again, think of Amazon and the Alexa that are all now in our homes, listening to us 24/7, providing us with instant information. This information which is shared among the company. Yes, it makes our life easier, but at what cost? Artificial intelligence will give humans a way to fill their primary function through duplicated behaviors of humans and how we speak and interact with each other. In the future, we predict that artificial intelligence will be able to exceed normal capacity of learning, processing information, and articulate information better and faster than any human could ever process. It will also be able to predict trends and human tendencies better than any type of technology of human knowledge in today's time. Think of AI being able to understand global conflicts, be able to predict wars and famine. It will be able to learn at an accelerated rate that extends the threshold of human capabilities. In conclusion, as this technology continues to evolve, our businesses will become increasingly more autonomous. Machines will be able to perform maintenance on themselves, deduce their own conclusions, and continue to learn and adapt to changing needs and preferences. This ability to change to needs and preferences is at the very core of every business who competes in the marketplace. There is no doubt that AI is here to stay. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.